Assalamualaikum and a very good evening, especially to our lecturer, which is Professor Engineer Technologist Dr. Abdul Rahim Abu Khalid, and our adjunct professor, which is CS Ricky Liu Chi Leong. We actually from Group 10 for the Engineers and Society course ECV 3011, we present for our project, which is nitrogen and oxygen cut analysis with SR Aviation. Next.
So a task was given by TS Ricky. Obviously, we were assigned to propose a conceptual design on how to reduce bumpiness of the two cards, which are namely the nitrogen and oxygen cards. So we were divided into two teams, which one deals with the nitrogen card and the other deals with the oxygen card. So IZZAT and AMIR would be in the first team, and the other team would be me, myself, ROSHAN, and HANIS. So we visited the SR Aviation hangar to get the measurements of the cards. So here we will see the roles and responsibilities of each member. Our group leader is AMIR. He led the group in performing tasks, and he's involved in designing to improve the oxygen tank card, as I've mentioned earlier. Together with IZZAT, he's also involved in designing to improve oxygen tank card. Then IZZAT is also the mediator between TS Ricky and the group. HANIS, she's involved in the design and problem determination of the gas tank. ROSHAN is designed the suspension for the improvement of cards. And finally, me, I'm involved in designing to improve the nitrogen tank. Next. So the community involved in this nitrogen and oxygen card analysis with the SR Aviation are the engineers, technicians, and the workers all at the SR Aviation hangar. Besides that, the workers at the airport, Sultan Abdul Aziz Shah Airport at Subang, are also involved in this community because the workers working within the vicinity of the nitrogen and oxygen card are exposed to this risk. And the safety of the staff depends on the nitrogen and oxygen card itself. If the card is not safe to use, obviously it can cause harm to their lives. So we will go next slide. So the problem statement is that the current wheel of the oxygen and nitrogen card have hard tires and are too bumpy during operation, which would be pulled, connected to another vehicle, which may be dangerous. And the card undergoes heavy vibration when put on the bumpy road in the hangar, and when moving from the airport to the hangar on the tarmac. So these vibrations might cause the gas tank to puncture, and the puncture may cause a catastrophic scene and may be fatal because like the tank may just explode and just start flying like a missile. Next. So we'll pass this to HANIS.
Okay, so the objective of this project is to be able to design a new conceptual card by improving the safety of the card. Next is compare the functionality between the initial card and the newly designed card in terms of its safety performance. And the last objective of this project is to achieve at least one goal of the Sustainable Development Goals to serve for the community. Okay, so for methodology of this project, first we were divided into two separate groups, consist of 2 people in group 1 and 3 people for group 2, as mentioned by Ivan just now. And group 1 worked on the design of the aircraft oxygen card improvement, and group 2 worked on the design of nitrogen card improvement. So we identified the model requirement for the card, and a virtual design for the model was developed. Then we analyzed and improved the design of the model, and both of the group used SolidWorks to make the virtual model and test the improvement that being made on the design. The SDG goals that we try to achieve is SDG goals 9, industry innovation and infrastructure, which is solving problem of the industry, ensuring safety of workers, which lead to SDG goal 8, which is a decent work and economic growth workers have the right to work in a safe environment. For the project focus on for MOISTI, the project focus on the next generation engineering and manufacturing, and also computerized methods to solve the problem. Okay, so for the next part, I will pass it to my other friend.
Hello, so I'm AMIR, and me and IZZAT is in charge for the improvement on the oxygen tank. So next. So this is the site visit. This is some of the pictures that we took of the oxygen tank. Our aim is to change the design of the tires. That is our main modification. So next. So first, we actually make a virtual model of the original tank. As you can see, it's not quite similar because we cannot get the actual measurement of the original tank. So there are some measurement that we assume. Next. And this is the improvement that we have made to the virtual model. More specifically, 3 things that we have added or modified to the original tank. First and the most important thing is the tri-star wheel shaft. So as I said earlier, the back tire, we changed the shaft for the back tire with a tri-star wheel shaft. Mainly because this tri-star wheel shaft can handle bumpy roads or uneven terrain much better than a normal wheel shaft. It is operated as a normal wheel shaft on a flat ground. More specifically in this case, the hanger, because the hanger has a smooth surface. The problem comes when the car is traveling from another hanger to another hanger, which involve rough terrain such as the road, the tar, or even dirt and grasses. As I said, it allows the car to climb over little obstruction like rock, rolls, and stairs. It also allows the car to maneuver on rough, uneven surfaces. The next things that we added to the car is a portable fire extinguisher. This is important because the last accident involved heavy fire. So it's not a bad idea to include a small portable fire extinguisher in case of emergency. And the last modification is the pad. I didn't mention this earlier, but the original card has the pads fail because when we fill the pad when during the site visit, the pad is actually quite hard and it's not rubber anymore. So we actually changed the pad to a Soberten vibration isolation pad, mainly because 2 things. Because this material is a superb material for vibration damping. It can absorb up to 94.7% of vibration. And the next thing is that it has a low creep rate and it can withstand a very wide temperature range, which is what we want to overcome the original pad. So next. This is the estimated project costing. Of course, the workmanship fees is not included as the first one is the Soberten vibration isolation square pad, which costs 270 ringgit, and then the fire extinguisher, which costs 41 ringgit, and the tri-star wheel shaft, which costs 45 ringgit. So our estimated budget for the modification is a little above 300 ringgit for the oxygen tank. So that's all for group 1. Next.
Okay, so moving on to the nitrogen tank, it is quite similar to the oxygen tank, with the differences come in terms of sizes. So just as AMIR mentioned earlier, the same problems were apparent in this nitrogen tank. And as mentioned by Ivan earlier, our first task was to take measurements of this tank at the site itself. And moving on, we made a CAD model to conduct further stress analysis using the SolidWorks software. So, so according to this design, we try to find out where does the most stresses occur and try to make improvement based on those findings. So as for improvements, right, the two main improvements that we worked on is by adding a rubber tire instead of the hard tires that were used on the real model. This is because it allows the cart to move smoothly on a rough surface such as tarmac or any road, and it allows the cart to maneuver without causing too much movement to the tanks itself. So this tire here, you see, it's similar to the one used in a wheelbarrow, so it's easily obtainable. And the second addition that we did is we added a spring to hold the tire. So when so it acts as a shock absorber on a tarred road, and it reduces the vibration of the payload, and therefore it ensures the nitrogen tank from not exploding due to the vibration. So the combination of these two is what you see in this diagram. So the tire is new, and the spring is attached in between the model and also the tire, and it acts as shock absorbers that reduces the vibration of the whole cart. So moving on to the project costing, right? We calculated as a whole, and as for the shock absorbers, we took 4 of them, and there's actually some mistake in the costing over here. It's supposed to be 2. So the total would be 300 and 444. So the total costing for our project would be a little bit above 700. And with this 700 is the price you're paying to avoid a tank from exploding and to preserve the lives of those working around it. So moving on, I pass it to my colleague.
Okay, for the impact of the project, the first one, this project enhanced the mobility and safety of the oxygen and nitrogen cars. This makes transportation for both of the cars from one place to another easier and a lot more safe than it previously are. The second one is, this project minimizes the risk of any catastrophic event to occur in the future. Since previously, a bad event occurred due to dangerous conditions of the current car. This improvement will sure help in avoiding such events. Last but not least, the impact of this project is to ensure a safety environment for the workers at the hangar. Okay, next. Okay, for the conclusion, to conclude, this project is successfully and well conducted by the students. There are few improvements that have been made to the cart to reduce the vibration received by oxygen and nitrogen tanks. This improvement will increase the safety factor of the cart and will ensure the life of the workers is not in danger while handling the nitrogen and oxygen tanks. I think that's all from us, Group 10. Thank you for watching.